Boys, how are we? Jimmy, you look sun-kissed there, mate, after your day of golf. How are you, mate? You all right?
I'm on fire, mate. I'm being honest. I
Literally.
had no sun cream on. I've got me and Kevin De Bruyne are shrugs.
I was going to say, you giving Kevin De Bruyne a stick there
I
last
know,
week, and then you
mate.
turn up looking like a tomato. How did you play, lad?
Shrugs, really.
Golf
I'm good,
go
man,
okay?
mate. Golf was all right. Didn't play very well, but it's the only second time I've played this year, so it's a few decent drives. So yeah, good day, mate. Nice to be out. Better than doing work properly.
And you rushed back for us as well, mate. I'm very impressed.
Put my foot down. A couple of tickets that I'm going to put through to Tank.
Yeah.
I can't have another band. I'll pass them to me dad. He normally takes them anyway.
Oh, look at that. And talking of dads, we're obviously three parents. It was Dad's Day, Father's Day yesterday. Tank, did you get anything nice?
Yeah, I did. Jack actually a little bit sentimental. He's moving away any Tuesday. He moves to his Burnley. He's got full time in there. His digs, yeah. So yeah, I got a few gifts. I think some of them were taking the piss. If I'm being honest, looking back at it now, he bought me a water bottle which said "The Man, the Myth, the Legend," and I was like, "Oh, son, that's great." And he gave me that look as if to say, "Yeah, but don't mean that." Yeah. That. And I'm like, and he actually got me a photograph of me and him, which is at the side of the bed. It was a first.
Did you get a bit of a wobble? Did you get a bit emotional?
Well, I was like just kind of taken back with it. I was like, okay, yeah, that's nice, that.
And how are you feeling about him going?
Yeah, it's kind of it's strange because I mean he's a nightmare, mate. Honestly, he is. But he's like he's one of them where he's like me basically, and you just think the house will be dead without him. It'll be empty.
Yeah.
I walked out before he'd done his exam, and I heard his mum screaming in the kitchen. So I've gone out, and he's got his mum over his shoulder, and because he's a unit now, you see, and I think he likes everyone to know he's a unit, and he's spinning his mum round. She's screaming, as pink as Jimmy. on his shoulder, and he's going, "Come on, mum!" And you think, what the fuck is he doing? Yeah, I think there'll be a few tears on Tuesday, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, don't blame you.
No shame in that, mate.
Yeah, I'm the crier, Jim. You know I'm a crier. I cry at DIY SOS and everything, mate. I sob it.
I cried at Maverick, everything. Top Gun Maverick.
Don't say anything now because I want to watch that, Jim. But I know that I'm now going to cry if you're crying.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you, lad? Did you get much for Father's Day?
A couple of matching co-ed sets, some straight off of Love Island, some new sliders, proper dad stuff, some Harry Potter pens.
Okay. You love the old Harry Potter, actually going on to Harry Potter.
Big into Harry Potter, me, mate. Big into it. I'll quiz anyone at Harry Potter.
We went on a stag do once, and all of us were dressed up as Harry Potter. Well, but you'll know it better than me, Jim. We were all wizards of some description, weren't we?
Yeah, so my mate is he's got no hair, so he was Voldemort, and we were all Harry Potter.
He had no choice, did he?
He got no choice, no.
What about you, Jamie? Did you get anything then?
What did I get? So nicely placed. The best dad ever. Pint glass here. Do you know what I got? I got the new Liverpool shirt, mate. And I usually am a training kit guy. I like the training tops rather than the actual jerseys, but I thought the new one looked nice this year. So the missus and the kids, they got me that. Then they do the big making the cards thing, and then we went out for dinner, Father's Day dinner. And I seen something on Twitter today which made me laugh because it was very accurate. So I got took out for dinner to my favourite boozer. They do a great pint of Guinness. In fact, I think I sent you lads the picture of the Guinness. It was a beauty. And then I have to pay for the dinner. So I was like, hold on, what's the story with this here? But no, it was good. It's lovely. Very, very much appreciated. So lads, I want to come to the first topic for tonight. And this is something that's caused a little bit of a stir. I was quite opinionated around this and wanted to get your thoughts. So you may have seen it. United's CEO Richard Arnold had got wind that a supporters group were going to come and protest outside his house. Obviously his house that he shares with his family, which is not ideal for anyone. He then arranged to meet some of these supporters in a local boozer. and proceeded to have a chat with them about United, the state of the club, where they're looking to get to. And I think his intentions were good. And then you saw that one of the United fans managed to film the conversation and has obviously gone on the hunt for likes on social media and posted it everywhere. What did you make of that, lads? Because for me, the guy seems to be doing the right thing in response to something that I think is an absolute piss take. Why anyone would want to go to someone's home is beyond me. Tank, what did you make of the whole sorry state of affairs? Because it doesn't reflect very well on United, does it?
It doesn't, no, but I think it doesn't reflect well on United fans more than anything, mate, because, they've targeted I'm not even going to try and say his name. I've seen Trent Arnold-Phillips there, but was it Woods was it, or whatever his name? They targeted his
Woody
house.
Woodpecker.
Edward Wood.
Yeah. So they targeted his house, and I mean, for me, that's just like a no-go zone. That's like everything's off limits. Someone comes to your house, that's everything's off limits. It's scandalous. So this fella's come in. He's new, right? I think he's tried to be proactive, tried to nib it in the bud quickly. Listen, he's been honest with them and said it's been a fuck up, it's been a shit show. And they should have been delighted that they've got someone at the top of the club who's coming and saying, listen, the past mistakes have been shocking. We've wasted billions and we're going to try and rectify it. It's going to be difficult, it's going to take time, but we're going to get it. So for me, he's done no harm. He's gone and, he's gone and attacked the bull grab the bull by the horns, if you like, and try to nib it in the bud, and then you just get idiots. I mean, they drives me mad, this state. I mean, look, and sometimes we do, we're sending each other pints of Guinness last night, but you can't go out and have a bite to eat or a piss or not no more without a photograph or a phone or it's a crazy world we living with that. But I don't think the fella's done anything wrong at all. I think he's gone and try and attacked it, nib it in the bud, and I think if anything, the United fans come out as an absolute disgrace.
Jim, would you say, because one of the lines that's kind of coming off the back of this is that the new CEO has been naive to think that this wouldn't get out in some way, shape, or form? Where do you sit on that?
I think it reverts back to the Laporte incident last week. I think if you want people to be open and honest, there's things that you talk about, that aren't for everyday life, and they're off the record, and they're good, and they're a need to know and a good to know. If the people that he was meeting asked him, would you mind if we filmed this conversation? I bet the conversation would have gone completely different. So that Richard Arnold is in a lose-lose situation there, because what does he do? Like, he's come out, he's trying to be honest with the fans, and surely as a fan, that is all you want. Because Woodward just sat behind, the commercial deals. The club was a mess from top to bottom. Everyone hated it. New guys come in straight away off the bat. He's tried to be open and honest, and people are filming on the side. So what do you think he's going to do now? He's going to retreat, and he's going to think twice about what he says. So they've shot themselves in the foot now, and you're not going to get that open and honesty until he feels that there's some level of trust there. He'd give you the trust, and you've shot him straight in the foot with it. So I think it's a real shitbag move.
Is it not just a sign of the times, though, as well? Because you see it now, if there's, I don't know, a fight or something's going on in town or something bad's happened or an accident has happened, people are getting the videos out rather than helping
mind
people.
If it's here, but he's doing it on the sly, isn't he? He's not. Richard Arnold isn't fully aware that the film is being taken. So if he's got his phone here and he's holding it, yeah, that's fine. He then makes a decision of what he wants to say and how he wants to say it. If it's down here and he thinks he's having a conversation, that's what I don't like, is filming people on the sly.
Just on it, Richard Arnold is obviously an intelligent man. You don't know the position what he's got if you're not a very intelligent man. What he said, every football fan in the world knows. Man United's been a shit show. He's not said anything where you go, oh, that's shocking. Man United's been a shit show since Alex Ferguson left. It's been absolutely shocking from top to bottom. Everybody knows it. The transfers are being shocking. The players' wages, what they give out, is shocking. You look at the goalkeepers on about 400 grand a week. He couldn't catch a fucking cold 2 seasons ago. And I just think he must have an inclination that he's getting filmed. And I don't think that what he said, as I say, it's shocked anyone.
I don't think he's come out with any dent in his reputation.
No.
It's the fans. Everyone's jumped on the fans, so he'll be fine out of it.
Do you know what it is, though? I think as well, sometimes when you hear him say things like that, me as a fan, I would take confidence in that in a weird kind of way, because I think if you need to get better, sometimes you have to hear somebody in a position of power give you that feedback that's real. It's not just sugarcoating things. It's, look, we've messed up. We fucked up. We've made mistakes. And this is what we are going to do to try to get better. And I think as a United fan, would be quite refreshing. I think some of the things that you're hearing out of Ten Hag since he's come in, he's looking to address key areas in the pitch. He's going to have a clear identity, which Manchester United have lacked for a long time. You want to be hearing that there's a direction, because for far too long with Manchester United, it seems like there hasn't been, and it's been passing the buck. It's his problem, their problem. I'm not at fault. Whereas, the guys tried to take a little bit of a lead and it's got thrown back in his face. So I just think all that comes out of this is negativity towards Manchester United. And then you look at it again in terms of, you're going to love this one, Tank. So Paul Pogba is a player now that is going to be leaving Manchester United. And one of the stories that's broke is that the Pogmentary that he's been filming, hashtag Pogmentary, my God. He basically brushed away Manchester United's contract offer of, I think it was 300 grand a week on a 300 grand a week 6-year deal as a nothing offer. Who wants to go first on this one?
I'll
Jim,
go first.
Tank, go on, Jim.
I don't mind going first. I mean, look, it's a mad thing to think that someone can say that 300 grand's a nothing offer. Now, I get that. Now, in context, he's already on 290. So in reality, he's getting that 10 grand pay rise. So now I'm not saying what he's saying is right in any way, shape or form. But when you put into context, in the way that football, he can go to anywhere and get 300. His next club will be 350, 400 grand.
How though, lads?
It's mad. I know it's mad. And I'm not, again.
He will not be getting 350 grand a week at Juventus. That they're in turmoil. He will not get anywhere near that.
Why would he have gone there, though, Tank?
That's what I'm saying.
It's a money play.
But this is what I don't understand. I mean, Paul Pogba, it's supposedly been a 6-year deal. And I know the poor fella's dead who's advised him, but if he wasn't, I'd say you needed shooting him, because he should have signed that 6-year deal at 300 grand a week, because we've said it, Jamie, I've said this on this podcast for the last 3 years or however long we've done it. Paul Pogba is the most overhyped, overpaid footballer. Pogba.
I was going to say, I started to laugh. I was taking a sip of my drink and you said Paul Pogba, and I was like, oh, for God. I'm nearly sure you said Alice Ferguson before, but I didn't.
I probably did. But listen, he should have signed that deal, and he can't sack his agent, but listen. Anyway, that's just my opinion on him. A 10 grand a week pay rise.
No, I know. I get it. Look, it's a shit thing to say, and it reverts back to the Ashley Cole situation, wasn't it, where he was offered an extra 50 grand a week or whatever it was. He downplayed it. But from his point of view, he's thinking, right, I'm on 290 now, and I deserve more, and that's where it's come from. Now, look, he should definitely have signed a deal. 6 years, he would have sat on his arse for at least 4 of them.
But this is the weird thing, though, that I find, especially if you flip it over to, let's say, for example,
it's not going to do him any favours anyway, is it?
Well, if you look at the Mo Salah situation, for example, and Tank touched on it there a minute ago when they dished out whatever it was, 350, 400 grand on David De Gea a couple of seasons ago. And I think it was actually Alexis Sanchez that came in to United, and they broke heaven and hell, or whatever the saying is, to get him moved heaven and earth, I think is what I was going for there, to get him through the door and give him massive wages. Now, Liverpool's situation with Mo Salah is that they won't break their wage structure. And you look at Paul Pogba, who is obviously demanding he's on 290, he wants 350, 400, which would have him, I think, on parallel with De Bruyne, who I think is arguably the top earner in the league. The thing that I have the biggest problem with is his performances on the pitch for Manchester United have been absolutely woeful. As in, lads, I'm being serious now, and this isn't me with a Liverpool hat on. I'm just looking at this objectively in a football sense. I cannot remember, other than I think he scored an unbelievable half volley with the outside of his boot into the corner. I think might have been away at Burnley even. Like there's been the odd thing that like a nice ping across the pitch, but there's been nothing of substance. Certainly not anything consistency-wise for him to even be in that conversation as one of the top earners in the league. Am I missing something? Is football just gone completely backwards now?
United aren't bothered about losing him, are they? And if he was in that, upper echelons of the players, then they'd be fighting. They'd be moving heaven and earth, or whatever the saying is, Jay, to keep him.
I'm rubbing off on you.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah.
No, they're not arsed. And I don't think any United fan is that arsed about losing him. I think he would have been a nice one to keep if a 10 grand extra than what he's paying, and hopefully Ten Hag can get a song out of him. But I think 9 out of 10 United fans will tell you that they're not particularly bothered because 1, he hasn't played, 2, he hasn't been great. And he's just living off his his past and his France performances. So
and his hashtags
and his hashtags. Yeah.
Tank.
I mean, I've got no issues with them because I've had a bad haircut in my time, but it's ultimately
you're a flash player though. But you delivered though, Jim. I'll give you that. You delivered, lad.
Oh, once or twice.
Tank. You look at these big money transfers, right? You look at Pogba, it's not worked out. You look at the state of the Lukaku situation for Chelsea now. Like, what is going there? He going on there. He's going back to Inter now. Mate, I want to read you something, right? Because I've seen this before. And we're talking, there's a clamour now in modern football. Fans just want signings. I want something shiny and new. Don't care, just want a new signing. And I seen something online today, right, of the most expensive transfers in Premier League history. And I'm going to read you out the top 10, right? And the money spent and how many of these, in your opinion, have been a success, right? Number 1 is Jack Grealish for 106 million. So this is sterling now, right? Romelu Lukaku, number 2, 102 million. Paul Pogba, 95 million. Harry Maguire, 78 million. Jordan Sancho, as you like to call him, Tank, in 77 million. Virgil van Dijk is 76 million. Kai Havertz is 72. Nicolas Pepe at Arsenal, 72. And Kepa, the goalkeeper at Chelsea, for 72.
I think me personally, looking at there, you're looking at least 7 disasters, aren't you? I think it's too early to judge Jack Grealish. The lad's got tons of potential. The fee that they paid for him was astronomical anyway. Look, he's a very good player, Jack Grealish. But if I'm paying over 100 million for a player, I want guaranteed goals, guaranteed assists. I'm not just 4 or 5 goals. I want, if you're paying that fee, you want 15, 20 goals. Even if you're a midfield player, you should be getting double-figure goals season in, season out. Jack Grealish, I think you'll have to give him time and allow him to develop and learn how Pep plays. I think he'll have a better season this season coming. So I wouldn't say that he's been a bad buy. For me, he's just far too expensive for what he offers in general anyway. But I do like him as a player. I mean, you look at the list then, there's only Virgil van Dijk. No one needs to say anything about it. He's been one of the best signings. But, the one where I forget about that is that Pepe. Yeah. I mean, he has been he's been shocking, hasn't he? I mean, he come over with this reputation because we were linked with him at one stage. Yeah. And then you look at him now, he can't trap a dead rat in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. You're looking at him, and I agree with you wholeheartedly on Jack Grealish. I think he's got so much talent. I think he's just got to adjust to the Pep demands, which it nearly seems to take a player a season just to get used to his way of playing. But I think I look at that, and I kind of agree with you, Tank. I think if you're going to be paying upwards of 100 million, you nearly want to be solving a very specific problem that your team has. So, for example, to use the Virgil van Dijk or the Alisson issue, Liverpool had problem areas at centre-back and in goal for as long as I remember being a fan. And they literally just picked up 2 players, spent a load of money on them and solved those 2 problems. Exactly. I'm not sure Jack Grealish solves a problem for Manchester City. I think if they'd have gone and spent 100 million on Harry Kane, that would have solved the problem for Manchester City that they'd had for so long. Jim, do you think these big money transfers based on that list are all they're cracked up to be?
No, and I think you're both right about Grealish. I think, as you said, going from Dean Smith to Pep Guardiola's a bit, it's a jumping scale, that's astronomical. So
Big fish, little pond. No
no,
disrespect to Aston Villa, you know
not
what I
at
mean?
all. No, not at all. I think the way you got to look at it is when Grealish was at Villa, he could literally do what he wants, and he could just play with with every freedom. Because if
I'm
anything
rubbing off
went
on him
wrong,
now.
Jesus, none of us have got our teeth in tonight.
So he can play with all the freedom in the world and do what he wants and be instinctive. And then he's gone to Pep, who is so methodical and so anal in how he plays that I think Grealish has gone, shit, I can't play how I want to play. I think next year he'll be a player and a half, and I think the 100 million will look like a snippet. And if it doesn't, then, City, say la vie. But the question I would ask is, how do you motivate anyone when you're paying upwards of 70 million and they're getting 300 grand a week? Because don't forget they're getting 10% of that, but you're getting a signing on fee as well. How does anyone stay? That's what I think the biggest. Van Dijk had something to prove. Alisson had something to prove. The rest didn't really. And that's where I see the difference.
You don't think Grealish had something to prove?
No.
He scored four goals at Aston Villa the season before.
I don't think he's got anything to prove yet. I think, as I said, I think he's got a lot of learning to do, Pep to do.
I think he's got everything to prove. I mean, he's gone from Aston Villa, where it was only his second season in the Premier League from the Championship. I think he scored eight goals in the Championship season to get them promoted. Then he was superb for Villa in the season. But for me, I think he's got the world to prove still.
I think
he's still got to prove that he's an attacking midfielder who scores goals and contributes.
But I don't think he needs to prove it now, is what I'm saying. I don't think it needs to come the here and now, because he's still only young. What is he, 20, 23, 24?
Are you saying then, Jim, in a way, when at Aston Villa, he was the figurehead, the main man, everything went through him, whereas at Manchester City, if he steps onto that pitch and he has a 7 out of 10, the attention isn't necessarily on him because it's probably leaning on other stars. Is that
not so much the attention as such? What I'm saying is, when Jack Grealish got the ball at Villa, he knew he had to make something happen. He knew he had to do something, otherwise nothing else is going to happen. Whereas at City, he can't, or not that he can't, or he's getting used to the way that Pep wants him to play. So that's high and wide. Recycle the ball back, come back inside, filter in. And I bet Sterling was exactly the same when he left Liverpool to join City. I bet he was in the same mindset as I need to get into this. When Pep first joined, he did not fancy Aguero in the slightest because he couldn't play how he wanted. Now, this is City's top goal scorer. And then he built him into that player that everyone reveres now as probably one of the best strikers in the Premier League. So I think you just got to give Pep a little bit of time, give Grealish that time to embed, and I think you'll see a completely different play. And I'm happy to be proved wrong if if he hasn't, then I would agree that he's not lived up to his expectations.
The perfect segue here. It's nearly like I sense an agenda and you read it, Jim, because you mentioned Raheem Sterling there, and I want to come to you on Sterling, Tank, because this is another, it looks like, to be fair, clubs are starting to do a little bit of business. Arsenal been looking at Gabriel Jesus, and Rafinha is the name that's been linked today. So they're looking to do bits. Chelsea seem to be leading the march to get Raheem Sterling in. I have this nagging voice in the back of my mind with Raheem Sterling, in that he often gets put into a world-class bracket. And I don't think, as good as he is, and I'll caveat this with, I think Raheem Sterling is a brilliant player. He'd add to a lot of teams in the Premier League and across Europe. I don't think he's world-class because I've just always got a nagging voice that his end product, and I felt this when he was at Liverpool, and I haven't really been convinced otherwise when he's gone to City. His end product, you can't trust him. His finishing just doesn't seem quite there. Where do you sit on the Raheem Sterling move to Chelsea? Do you think it's a good one? And where do you put him, I suppose, in terms of that ranking, in terms of his quality?
That's to me, sorry,
That's
mate.
you, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Just quickly, because I'm going to explain something, because you might have noticed I keep looking to the side.
Are you going to
here.
tell me that your battery's on 2% again here?
No, I'm not. I've got a 19-year-old cat, and she's sent out. So what she does, look, so she sat here, and she comes to attack me. So she's 19. So she comes and sits by me. And
Let me
she keeps going
pull
to
up
get
the
me.
cat
So,
again there. I've got to get a photo of that, mate. Where's the cat?
come on. She's 19 and she's sent out, and she just comes and she attacks me, and then she gets off.
Is senile the same as senile, or?
Well, yeah, sent out. Yeah. So she sits by me. If you notice me, I was kept doing that when you were talking, and I thought.
Yeah, you look nervous.
Thinking,
I thought the missus was going to give you the shepherd's hook.
My hands are cut to pieces off her, mate. She comes and sits by, and you just stroke, and then she just grabs you, claws you, bites you, and then goes out.
There's so many jokes that I could make here.
I know, mate.
I'm really trying.
Let's get back onto Sterling. Look, Sterling for me he's a top Premier League player. He's top draw. He's nowhere near world class. Nowhere near it. You know, there's the world class bracket gets thrown about far too much. We've got a few world class players in the Premier League. He is not in that bracket. I don't even think he's. I've seen something from Danny Murphy today, but he was saying he's under the tier of world class. I think he's under that tier, to be honest with you.
What holds him back, Tank?
Well, I just sometimes watch Rhymes, and it sounds mad to say this. You watch him in his game, and you think someone will knock a ball out to him to control, and you're like, how bad's your touch? You know, he can actually roll under his foot. He can go 10 yards further in front of him. And look, he's been a wonderful player. He was superb at Liverpool. He's been outstanding for Man City. In my honest opinion, I have no idea why Chelsea want to sign him, because I don't think that's an area where Chelsea needs someone like Raheem Sterling. You've got the American lad. I'm not going to try and say his name.
Go on, have a go.
Pulisic.
Right, that was the bet. That was all right.
Yeah.
That's not bad. And now I honestly think that kid is absolutely brilliant. He's got everything. He's got pace, power, trickery, scores goals, finishes both feet. I don't think he's been given a fair crack at Chelsea. If someone was going to say to me, Liverpool could get like a backup, if you like to say, Mane's obviously gone, or Salah, I'd take in ahead of Sterling every day of the week, every single day of the week. And I'm just not too sure he's needed.
Where do you sit on this one, Jim?
I think it'd be a great signing for Chelsea. I really do. I think to go from City, where I get.
He's a London boy as well. He'd be back.
Yeah, he's a London boy. He can be wasteful. I get that, but I think the quality that he brings, and this season he hasn't played as many games as he would have liked to have played. So he'll happily admit that he's probably not been at his full potential this year. But you forget he's 27 years old.
Is he?
27
he's
years
been around
old.
forever.
Right.
And Wayne Rooney syndrome, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? They've been around since the 15.
40 million and 27. He's an England guaranteed starter. Scores goals for City, won the league. I think he's a great signing for anyone, regardless of anyone in the Premier League, because he'll add that winning mentality, and he's used to winning. So I think.
Can I throw one at you these then, Jimmy?
Yeah, go on then.
Let me throw one at you now. You're Man City manager.
Yeah.
You won all at home against Real Madrid in the Champions League semi-final. You need a goal. You've got Raheem Sterling and you've got Jack Grealish on the bench. Who are you putting on to win the game?
Good question.
Are we talking as of this day now?
No, just who are you putting on to get you that goal?
I'm putting Sterling on,
Are you?
Yeah.
There you go. Of course you will.
But this is as I'm taking that view as of right now. Like this. If they were playing in my back garden there, and I need a goal, I'm putting Sterling on. That doesn't mean I think Sterling's better than Grealish. I just think that he's got more confidence and has that more. He's playing in a way.
It's the pace.
Yeah,
it's definitely. It's got to be the pace.
But it's not.
I think I should jump on your point. I think I'd fancy Sterling to create just through creating panic with his speed and his movements. Whereas I'm not sure I'd trust Sterling. I'll flip the question. If he's through 1-on-1 with 2 minutes to go, who are you backing to finish, Sterling or Grealish?
Sterling.
Would you, yeah?
Sterling scores 20 goals every season. Jack Grealish scores 4.
You're not comparing apples with apples there, though, are you?
Sterling gets about 10 tap-ins a season because City create the same chance over and over again.
If
Sterling gets the tap-ins because he knows
to
where to be. It's the right place at the right time.
That system.
Jack Grealish can't get them tap-ins because he hasn't got the pace to get in Sterling's positions.
Nah, I don't agree.
I think it'd be a fair comparison at the end of next season where he's learned where Pep wants him to be, because so many times the players have just stood there waiting to tap it in. That said, I think Haaland's going to be there to sweep up all the chances anyway, so I don't think Grealish will get a chance. I want to come to a listener question, and I want to apologise to our mate Albert. Albert Crowley sent in a question for the lads last week. We totally forgot about it because Tank had a last minute panic because he had 1% battery on his laptop. So we had to crash. And his wife had a crash. It was bedlam last week. But this week, I want to get to Albert's question. So thanks for sending it in. Is there a player you loved or thought was amazing from the past, but now doesn't really get the recognition you feel their ability deserved? And I'll come to you on that one first, Tank.
The lad who I mentioned before, JJ Okocha. I was fortunate enough to play against him as well. And I mean, he was just a Rolls Royce on the pitch, and he was just basically having a party on the pitch when he played.
He didn't look quick, Tank. No, just pure skill.
Just powerful, and he was sharp. It was not quick, but he was powerful. But just the trickery of him. I mean, that's what I said to you before. Jack asked me the other day and said, "Who's that, Dad?" And he was watching some of his clips on one of the social media things, and I went, "That's Okocha, mate." I said, "I played against him." He was phenomenal. He was absolutely phenomenal what he could do with the ball. He could make you look an absolute idiot at the drop of a hat, and he did, in a very good Bolton side. I think they were pushing for Europe most seasons, weren't they?
We were nearly in the Champions League, weren't they? And Allardyce wanted some reinforcements, and the board told him to fuck off.
Yeah, it's mad because we were accounted that team before, and there was Yuri Djorkaeff, Ivan Campo, Okocha. Who else did they have? It was like the who's who of
the Spanish international centre half. What was his name?
Campo, yeah. Oh, Hierro.
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 Yeah, some side.
What about you, Jim? Who's yours?
Got two, actually, thinking out loud. The one I mentioned before, Georgie Kincladze, I thought when he was at City and he was dribbling, mate, he was before his time. And don't forget, back in them days, the pitches aren't the pitches they're on now. Little Georgian wizard. And he had such quick feet, scoring goals. I think City fans will revere him, but I think outside of that, not many people will. Until you start talking about him, you go, oh, yeah, that sort of stuff. And the other one, actually, thinking out loud, is probably Matt Letizia.
Oh, yeah, the cat's back. Look at this. Is she going to attack you?
I hope so.
Mate, she's wrong, honestly. I'm not moving.
Yeah, back to that, though. But Matt Letizia, I think, some of the goals he scored, and he didn't get half as many England's caps as he probably should have.
Yeah.
He was decent. He was a very good player. Probably had chances to move and never did. He could do some things with the football. That free kick that he scored when he flicked up and volleyed it. Yeah, mate, that was decent. So yeah,
that's a good shout. I love watching Premier League years on TV whenever it's on. And some of the goals that he scored. I remember one at Blackburn when he was about 40 yards out and he bent it in the top corner. He was unbelievable. I think because I've got three, so I'm going to cheat. So total cop-out. Apologies, Albert. So I've obviously got to pick some Liverpool players, and then I want to do a non-Liverpool player. So I think I'm just going to put Jordan Henderson in there anyway, just because. And I know Jimmy's going to roll his eyes here because we've.
Anyway, nice speaking to you, lad. See you later.
I don't think he gets the. I'm not going to spend a long time on it because Jimmy will end up turning his camera and mic off, but I just don't think he gets the credit he deserves for what he's made of himself. A lad who went on loan at Coventry, was getting shipped out the door to Fulham as part of a deal for Clint Dempsey. He's gone on to be one of the most successful Liverpool captains in one of the most dominating Liverpool teams and been an integral part, on and off the pitch. But my actual answers are random one. And I know I say this as a Liverpool fan, but I did have a soft spot for him. David Beckham. I don't think they. What you're tutting at there? You're not having
I
that one,
love
Jim.
mate. I love it.
I
I
thought
think
that was
you're bang on, mate. But
right.
I think you're wrong. As in, everyone loved Beckham at some point.
Did they though? As in, did he
Everyone
get?
at some point has loved David Beckham. Whether that was United, LA Galaxy, PSG, AC Milan.
But that's
Naomi,
because of his
someone at
talents.
some
Whereas
point.
the thing I'm getting to there, Albert's point was, did you feel they got the recognition their ability deserved? And when you talk the best of the Premier League era, David Beckham never gets spoken about. And I'll be honest, his delivery of a ball, some of the things he used to do, it was nearly like as soon as they got over the halfway line, a chance was on because he could whip a ball. I remember one actually, it was for Real Madrid. And he
with the
literally,
Ronaldo one.
was it Ronaldo? Yeah.
It across.
It was pretty much from the
Mate,
halfway line,
that's
mate.
a
It was
ball.
ridiculous. So yeah, David Beckham is one, and then another one, just an obscure, another Liverpool one. Do you know who I loved? And I thought he was unbelievable, but he was a bit mad. Stan Collymore. You would know him, Tank, from obviously the Forest days. He seemed to me at the time to have everything: power, pace. He bully lads. I mean, did you play against him or come up against him? What was he like as a
played against him? Yeah, and I know what you're saying about him. I don't think that environment at Liverpool, the dressing room at that time, suited him because he's a bit of a strange character and I mean that in the nicest kind of way. And he can come across as this big brash arrogance, and he's not. And I just think that kind of affected him being what he could have been at Liverpool. I mean, you watch him at Forest, he was literally unstoppable. He was unplayable. And then we only seen, as a Liverpool fan, we only seen glimpses of what he could potentially do at Liverpool. But yeah, no, I get what you mean with him fully.
Yeah, I want to finish up because we're nearly up for time, right? So bit of a sideways curveball here from me, and obviously it's holiday season, lads. Everyone's got their summer holidays booked. You know, they're looking forward to a nice break. I want to know, what are both of your airport routines? So like what's your thing when you get to the airport or your holidays? Like what's the things you like to do when you're away? And the reason I asked this is I was having this chat with a missus the other day, and she was like, I'm far too anal about like the arrangements for stuff for holidays and like making sure we're on time for these various different things. And there was a video that I seen called Airport Dad, and he's like storming ahead with the boarding passes, and he's like, wants to get everything sorted. What type of holiday goers are you? And I'll come to you first, Jim.
I'm an absolute nightmare until our bags are in the hold and we're through security. Up until that point, I am stressed for no reason whatsoever. I just am. Like, I can't explain it. And then as soon as we're through, that's it. I'm dead sound. Like, let's get the beers in, let's get something to eat, go duty free, fill your boots here. Like, here's a credit card, go nuts, sort of stuff. But up until that point, from the morning of to the security through, it's painful for me. I stress over that, and it's not a fun experience at all. If we eat before we're through that, so at Birmingham Airport, there was Frankie and Benny this side of security, and we'd often meet and eat there, and I'd be like, I need to get in. I just need to get in, get my bags in, and then let's eat that side as opposed to before security. So my routine is get there as early as you can, get the stuff through, and then you're on. As soon as that's in, you got your seat, you're on chill time then, aren't you? You've always got to have a pint at the airport as well.
Oh yeah, and you got to post it on social media, otherwise
no matter what time, 3 a.m. pints.
100%. I agree with you fully. Tank, what about you? I can't have you down as the organised type, mate. Oh, your sound's gone there, Tank. Give you a little, give you a wire, a little pull there, mate. Oh, sounds a bit dodgy, that.
No, Cat's been pulling at it.
No, while Tank sorts out his sound, the reason I asked this question, Jim, is obviously we've got holidays coming up, and like with all the like checks now, and you need to like COVID passes, and all the different rules and regulations and all this stuff. I find myself getting far too Like airport parking was one for me there the other day. Just trying to work out where do I park, what time do we leave, and like I build it up. But like you, as soon as you get through the security, and you've got job is a good. And Tank, you back with us, mate? No, that sound is not like in Tank at all. To be fair, we did well there. We did 40 minutes with absolutely no tech issues. And for those listening as well, today was going to be a great day because Tank actually bought a new microphone. Got the new microphone back. I've been waiting for this new microphone now for what feels like a very long time. And it comes back, new mic. You can see it there for anyone watching on YouTube. It looks the absolute business. But now we need an adapter to put it into the laptop. So we're back on the PlayStation headphones. They're a little temperamental. I'll try one more time. Tank, you back with us? Can you hear us, Tank? No, you can't. So on that note, lads, I think that's time for us. Unless Tank can come back anytime soon, I think we'll call it a day there. Jim, before you go, mate.
Yes, mate.
Airport routines. You've got through. You're at your holiday resort. What's the first thing you do when you get to your resort?
Get sunbed, mate. And pick your spot for the 2 weeks and get the same spot every morning. That's because I'm proper OCD. If I get the right spot, that's it. I'm there then for the rest of the 2 weeks. If I'm fighting for the spots, then there's issues. I remember once when we were in Egypt, me and my brother-in-law went out at 2 a.m. pissed, obviously, to put our towels down, but we were dressed in like snorkel gear. And I'm pretty sure I had some
Scuba
Speedos
Steve.
Yeah, I'll send a picture in of what I was wearing to the WhatsApp group. But 2 a.m., 3 a.m., the guys were like, nah, go home, mate. Stop being a dick.
Very German of you there, Jim.
Yeah,
Tank, one last time, lad. Anything to contribute? No, he's gone. Tank has gone. Next week, I am delighted to say, I'm delighted to say he will be on his new microphone. Before we wrap up, I just want to do a quick shout out because you may have seen in the week, obviously we've created a new YouTube channel. What we've been discussing between us is if we get to 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, we're going to start doing live streams on YouTube where anybody that's watching, so that's all our parents and maybe that's probably it. So three man and a dog are going to be watching live. The viewers will be able to interact, ask us questions, and we'll just have a bit of a laugh until Tank gets us thrown off YouTube for some of his comments that I can't edit out. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I think we're nearly at 700 subscribers now. If I can ask one favor for the week, log on to our YouTube channel. I'll make sure I link the YouTube channel in all the social posts. Click on that, pop us a little subscribe, and get us up to that 1,000. And then once we're there, we'll start doing the live shows with Tank's new mic. So with that, Jimmy, Tank, it's been an absolute pleasure. Looking forward to next week already. Oh, actually, I'm away on away on holiday. So
what? No poolside podcast, mate.
Yeah, well, I'll have a think of how we can. Yeah, no dedication to the cause.
That'll be class.
Pina colada. You know me, mate. I've had a couple of drinks. I'll be playing Truth or Dare with you lads and all sorts.
Fine, that me. I'll show you anything.
On that note, right. With that, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your week. Look after yourselves, and we will be back with you potentially next week on the Boot Room Podcast. All the best.
Cheers, lads.
Yeah.